foreign trip in his first term, and he's once again breaking tradition by skipping over America's closest neighbors. Now, this does come as the Gulf has played a critical role in mediating conflicts around the world, including the war in Ukraine, with Saudi Arabia serving as a venue for separate U.S. talks with both Russia and Ukraine. This also comes as the Trump administration is trying to make progress when it comes to the humanitarian crisis and the war in Gaza. Now, when it comes to that luxury plane, it certainly raises questions about whether or not it's legal for the...
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Wake up, man. My media's cooked. My news is cooked. Jesus Christ. Well, yeah, I mean, it's obscenely corrupt. Trump, do you remember how Trump announced this Middle Eastern tour with like a lot of oorah, right? Like he was really, he was screaming from the rooftops about it. He was like, I've got a big surprise coming up, a big secret. And then it turns out it's a Middle East tour. And he's just visiting a bunch of shitty petrostates. These are the same people who were trying to buy Trump the first time. My personal opinion, humbly, my personal opinion, I think that OPEC's trying to get in good with Trump because they're interested in muscling not just us, but Russia out of the equation. He's bought? Oh, of course he's bought. But I think that like there are a few things that nations like Saudi Arabia want from Trump to be one, like the permanent fossil fuel merchants, you know, like forever is one of them, I imagine. And I think to a large extent, they're probably going to try to like pull him from Israeli influence as well, which is very funny.
The Trump administration and ultimately the Trump Presidential Library Foundation to accept such a valuable gift from a foreign power. But sources are telling us that both the White House and the Department of Justice have concluded that because the gift doesn't come with any conditions, it's not conditioned on any official act, they're considering that this does not constitute bribery.
Fantastic. Of course. Obviously, yeah. Same excuse offered from every person who's ever been bribed. Like he was just giving me the money like for fun, basically.
Mick, what's most at stake as President Trump meets with these leaders?
So, Phil, of course, there is a lot of economic aspects to this, particularly investments in the United States when it comes to these countries. But it's also important to point out that a lot of our military assets in the region are housed and hosted by these countries. Including our forward command center for Central Command and our major air operations, major maritime operations are all in this region, some of which are hosted by the countries you already mentioned. So it is important for us to show our appreciation for that because it gives us the ability to project force to this region that's really unparalleled among any other countries.
And Selena, these trade talks between the U.S. and China are underway, as you know, in Switzerland. I know you've been digging into this. Any progress towards lowering tariffs yet?
Yeah, well, we're on day 2 now of these talks.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm sure it's going very well. I'm sure. The most obvious individual instance of bribery, maybe in American history, has people asking questions about whether or not bribery is legal. Yeah. This is outrageous, says Kathleen Clark of the Washington University School of Law. Trump believes he will get away with this. He will, actually. He will get away with this. We got him this time. We got old Donnie boy. We caught him red-handed. It's just a gift. I doubt they're ever going to be able to properly retrofit it to use it as Air Force One. Still pretty funny, though. Man, it does make me wonder about, like, the extent to which the administration is pulling away from Israel. You know, the condition of recognizing Israel's been dropped from the negotiations with Saudi Arabia. There's this big tour. A lot of stuff's been happening. It might literally just be because of Mike Waltz. That's good. Yeah, I just want to know why. I'm actually worried this is the turn into old school anti-Semitism. Look, I think that Trump is probably an anti-Semite in the more conventional, like, old guy way, which is he probably thinks they're, like, good at doing accounting or something. I don't think he believes in the JQ or whatever. He's probably that kind of racist against literally, like, every group of people. Like, in Trump's heads, you've got, like, what are the Irish good at? What are the French good at? What are Italians good at? You know, like that kind of crap, right? I don't know how much of it would be like the ideological influence of him offering his ear to neo-Nazi Miller. I mean, it seems like a big part of it is just the Mike Waltz business. I mean, that was the big turnaround, wasn't it? What's this Mike Waltz turnaround? Mike Waltz was going over Trump's head and talking to Netanyahu in a way that was in a way that was sort of intended to provide American support for military escalation in Iran from Israel, which Trump didn't want because Trump genuinely seems to want peace in the Middle East. Trump wants it, obviously, so he can brag about it. It's not like he cares about it from a humanitarian perspective, but he's been unhappy with Netanyahu's new offensive in Gaza. He was unhappy with Netanyahu warmongering with Iran, striking nuclear facilities. Yeah, it's all very weird. I mean, in fairness, it is pretty consistent with Trump's behavior, right? Like Trump doesn't care about people. He does care about being seen as a deal maker. He brags about every deal he gets, no matter how meaningless or insignificant or how quickly it's turned back on. He's done it with China and North Korea and Iran and the Houthis all the time, always. He loves that. So yeah, he would prefer peace to war. Won't the MIC get mad about this? Probably are, yeah. Netanyahu was blindsided and infuriated this past week with Trump's announcement that the U.S. was halting its military campaign against the Houthis in Yemen after the Houthis agreed to stop firing on U.S. ships in the Red Sea. Not to do the like outflanking from the left thing, but it really does make Biden look pretty bad, huh? Like, it is pretty crazy how Trump can just be like a belligerent, self-centered asshole, and through that he can arrive at more antagonistic behavior towards Israel than Biden ever was willing to engage in. You know, it does make Biden look pretty complicit. Didn't you talk about this possibly happening a year ago? Kind of. I didn't really anticipate the extent to which Trump would be unchained in the second term. It's a weird balance of like everyone in Trump's cabinet can do whatever they want with no oversight because there's nobody like holding them to account or setting the rules. A mix of like Trump getting to do what he wants because nobody's around to tell him not to, and also everyone's kind of like fighting for his approval and support. And at the same time, like you've got this weird blend of influences, you know. I don't know. It's difficult to make any predictions. The general trend has been consistent. Anti-democracy, fascism, whatever, blah, blah, blah. The rocky road we're following to arrive at those endpoints is kind of interesting. The strain in the relationship between Trump and Netanyahu comes as the president is set to travel to the Middle East next week, with stops scheduled in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. Trump is not currently scheduled to visit Israel on this trip, though he did during his first term. Yeah, that's just, I don't know. It's just wild. Would you say because Trump has drive and Biden doesn't? I would say that Biden is largely like a neoliberal puppet of the establishment. Like capital is able to flow or like work through him pretty effortlessly because he's just a shell politician, right? He's just he's just sort of like an implement, right? He is also a Zionist ideologically. Like he's believed in that pretty wholeheartedly for a long time. But Trump is a little more unpredictable because he's actually beholden to his own desires to a large extent. He also doesn't like being controlled, even though he's like often controlled by others.